Hello, welcome to FHE on the Road with Christine Stevenson. This podcast is designed to connect the people and the places from the past with your lives today, with 5-minute stories and facts from church history. Save these stories for when you are traveling through these areas to bring history to life. Okay, welcome back to FHE on the Road. Today we're going to go over the life of Martin Harris. So I'm going to say most members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have heard of Martin Harris as one of the 3 witnesses of the Book of Mormon. Also, a main thing is how he lost the 116 pages of the translation of the Book of Mormon. I feel like those are the 2 common stories about Martin Harris. But I feel like that's pretty sad that those are the only 2 things people know about Martin Harris, because he was awesome. He came in, it stepped in at crucial times of the church to help when no one else would or could. And I love that he's also that person, and I feel like we should share those stories too. So here's just some general information on Martin Harris. He was born on May 18th, 1783 in Easttown, New York. He's the son of Nathan Harris and Rhoda Lapham. At age 25, Martin Harris married his 16-year-old cousin, Lucy Harris, which sounds really gross today, but it was normal back then. Martin Harris was a patriot. He was the first sergeant in the 39th New York military during the War of 1812. Well, that's kind of cool. In 1824, Martin Harris hired Joseph Smith and Hiram Smith to work on his farm. During that time, Martin Harris learned about the young Joseph Smith and his prophetic calling. Martin Harris was supportive to Joseph Smith and even gave Joseph Smith $50, and that is about $1,500 today. And that was to help with expenses when Joseph Smith was moving to Harmony, Pennsylvania. Martin Harris brought the transcribed characters of the Book of Mormon to the linguist Charles Anthon and Dr. Mitchell. Anthon stated that they were characters of ancient writings, but when Anthon found out that it was from Joseph Smith, he ripped up the paper with his authentication on it. So we'll have to get into that story one day too, but that one's pretty well known in the church too. Martin acted as a scribe for the prophet Joseph Smith. He was a scribe for the Book of Lehi. This is also the section of the Book of Mormon that Martin Harris asked to show his wife, and it became lost. Nobody knows what happened to the manuscript, but most scholars agree that Martin's wife, Lucy Harris, had something to do with its disappearance. So we still don't know. Martin Harris repented to the Lord and was forgiven. He ended up being able to be one of the 3 witnesses of the Book of Mormon, along with Oliver Cowdery and David Whitmer, after the manuscript had been lost. And so I think that's really powerful that he repented and worked hard enough to become one of those special witnesses. So he had a pure heart, is what it sounds like. Martin Harris mortgaged his farmland to help with the publication of the Book of Mormon. 18 months later, when the mortgage was due, Martin was unable to pay the debt. He and his wife separated around the same time of losing the farm. So that is really sad. Martin was baptized into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints on April 6th, 1831 in the Seneca River by Oliver Cowdery. Martin Harris served a mission with his brother Emer Harris in 1832, and they baptized 100 people in Chenango Point, New York. While on his mission, Martin Harris was taken to jail on false charges, and he was in jail until bail was received to release him. Martin Harris returned to Kirtland, where he marched with Zion's Camp. He became one of the 12 apostles to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Martin struggled with his relationship with Joseph Smith and was rejected as a member of the High Council for speaking against the prophet. He was never excommunicated, according to Brigham Young, but Martin distanced himself from the church around that time. Martin tried multiple different churches and organizations, but never stayed in any of them. When Martin was 86 years old, he sent a letter to Brigham Young in Utah, asking to visit Utah, and he would need the church to pay a round-trip ticket. Brigham Young said, "I was never more gratified over any message in my life. Send for him, yes, even if it were to take the last dollar of my own." So Brigham Young was really excited about Martin Harris wanting to come to Utah when he was elderly, 86 years old. So Martin Harris was rebaptized on September 17th, 1870 by Edward Stevenson in the presence of 5 apostles. When Martin Harris saw the Salt Lake Temple and the Tabernacle in the Salt Lake Valley, he exclaimed, "Who would have thought the Book of Mormon would have done all this?" I love that quote. Martin Harris died on July 10th, 1875 in Clarkston, Utah. He was buried with his Book of Mormon on his right hand and his copy of the Doctrine and Covenants on his left. I haven't been up there to the Clarkston Cemetery, but a monument to him. And Dallin H. Oaks is one of the descendants of Martin Harris's brother, and he gives the best talks on Martin Harris. They're amazing. And so I'll link some of those too. But I've loved learning about Martin Harris and all the sacrifices he made and how challenging everything was. And I love that he was able to be humble and repent and learn and grow and teach. And I think Martin Harris sounds awesome. Anyways, I hope you learned something about Martin Harris. Thanks. Thank you for listening to FHE on the road today. We hope you enjoyed what you've heard. Please like, subscribe, and share with anyone who'd be interested in these stories. Thanks.